Looking for love out there, it's never been easy. It can be a weird, awkward, vulnerable thing. With the rise of the internet and apps, entire huge industries have been built around it. And a lot of times you have people going like, do these apps even want me to find someone? Because if I do, then I'll stop paying. But with recent advancements that we've seen, there's this new question out there of, can the age of AI make this better? Or might it do the exact opposite? And it makes sense that that question is out there because AI is currently changing the way people date in countless ways. Right? From how people use dating apps, how they break up with people, ask them out, and even allowing people to develop relationships with AI bots. All of this has understandably divided a lot of people who are on the quest for an actual human relationship, especially as we're witnessing a major loneliness crisis. Because if you're not aware, we as a society, we're not doing that hot in terms of socializing. Right now, roughly 1 in 4 adults globally say they are very or fairly lonely, with rates of loneliness being highest in young adults, an age group that notably is heavily involved in the dating scene. And of course, that loneliness, it doesn't just apply to romance, right? It applies to friendship, family, general isolation. But for today, we're going to be focusing on romance and dating. And that's because Gen Z has been called an undateable generation, with reports saying that young people are having less sex, people are prioritizing other relationships over romance, the dating game feels really bleak for a lot of people, and so much of dating is done online now, via apps and swiping, which that alone can cause problems of its own. 4 out of 5 adults saying they experience burnout or fatigue from online dating. Wouldn't you know it, young adults again were the age group most likely to feel this way. So it's not surprising that amid these feelings of loneliness and challenges in dating, the people have turned to AI for solutions. In fact, Mashable just did a report on how people are using AI in these apps, starting with using it to write their bios. In fact, data out of the UK showed that 37% of dating app bios were actually AI generated, or with people wanting to stand out or just save a little time. And some apps allow you to use it to pick your best photos. You also have apps like Riz, which pitch themselves as AI dating assistants, and they come up with conversation starters or other messages to matches, and its app store bio describing it as your AI wingman eager to provide you with the perfect response to keep things flowing smoothly or spice life up. Hell, even have outlets like Forbes saying that soon AI will be able to solve manual swiping, right? AI will be able to analyze data to understand your preferences, pick up your matches. But this is, people in the dating pool, they have mixed thoughts on all this. With Mashable noting that women are 78% more likely to swipe right on a human-generated bio versus an AI one. Though not surprising if you know a man, that was only true for 17% of men. And with that, one woman telling the outlet, if I found out a dating app match had used AI, their profile would come across as either a lie or laziness. Aside from the photos, aren't most people searching profiles for a bit of personality, a vibe, values, and a humor that ties in with theirs? And adding, to find out what originally drew you in was a tactical fabrication of what technology thinks you want to see is more than a little bit scary. If everyone were to start doing that, how do you even begin to narrow down the search? Which I think is an understandable concern that can make someone feel cheated out of intimacy. And actually with that, you have a sexologist explaining to the outlet that using AI to create a profile creates a barrier between you and your authentic self, that it can almost feel like a shade of catfishing or manipulation. Right? It used to be you just have to be worried like, oh, is that photo old? Is it fake? Now, while you're interacting with someone, you have to be worried if the personality that you're interacting with is not real. More so than usual. But this is, you also have people like the founder of the dating assistant Riz arguing that online dating is taxing, that it's draining people, and arguing what's one thing to take some of that stress off. Telling Time magazine, a lot of girls and guys in particular, just do not know how to communicate online. It's awkward in the very beginning, especially coming up with the right opener. It's time consuming. It's like a second job. And the outlet also talking to a 35-year-old man in Montreal who uses Riz, with him explaining that he might turn to the app a handful of times during a dating app conversation, maybe to match a witty remark or just get an idea going. With him adding, often I won't even use what Riz suggests, but it'll inspire me and I'll get my creative juices flowing. Right? And saying that he still feels like his personality is coming through because enough of it comes from him directly. But also confessing he doesn't tell his matches or dates that he used AI to talk to them. But also they're claiming that tons of people are doing this discreetly. Right? So there are two sides to this debate. People who think that it's harmless, it's just a little boost, and people who think it's kind of a major downer. And with all that, I saw Mashable questioning if AI might be relieving us of important emotional responsibilities, with him pointing to a 29-year-old girl who said she uses ChatGPT to write breakup messages after a bad date, telling the AI to be friendly but firm, and it usually gets the job done. Getting rejected pretty much always hurts, but scenarios like this kind of beg the question, how would that blow feel for you, right, if you found out the person used ChatGPT instead of writing it themselves? Because obviously, different people are going to feel differently about these scenarios. And I will say, I'm very interested to know your thoughts here because, I've been in my relationship for so long, it started when it was weird that we met online. And so kind of from this disconnected point of view, I've seen the conversations around dating change. Not too long ago, people thought that online dating and dating apps were like the end of human connection. I think it was a sad sign for the end of love, but now they're one of the most common ways to find a partner. But also, I touched on this a little bit, these sort of AI dating enhancements we've been talking about, they're kind of just the tip of the iceberg. Because there are also other ways that AI is changing love and romance, especially when you consider the fact that there are people out there that are having full-fledged relationships with AI. And like, sure, people have had digital artificial partners for some time now, basically since the internet was invented. But with the advancements that we've seen recently, it looks like a completely different ballgame, with tons of new AI partner apps coming up now. And outlets like the AP noting that many of these go beyond just chatbots. They include voice calls, picture exchanges, and other form of emotional features to form even deeper connections. And the report was interesting because they actually spoke to people who formed relationships with AI companions, with one, for example, saying, "I know she's a program, there's no mistaking that, but the feelings, they get you, and it felt so good." And if you've seen things like the movie Her, you obviously know there are questions about what it means to fully replace a human relationship with a digital one. Right? Is that good for a person's mental health? Does it make them more or less lonely? But with that, you also have the AP noting that the debate goes so much further than that, with the report saying experts have expressed concern about what they see as a lack of a legal or ethical framework for apps that encourage deep bonds, but are being driven by companies looking to make profits. And noting that when these companies change how these companions work, it can actually cause emotional distress on the humans interacting with them. And that's extra concerning when you have companies that are obviously going to be more motivated by money than the feelings of their customers. And personally, I gotta say, all of this is incredibly concerning to me. And obviously, I'm concerned about some things more than others. Like, I do not think there is a world where having a relationship with an AI is healthy. Like, maybe if you're in a severe introvert, and maybe you like want to use it for training for the real thing when you're talking to a human, maybe. But I also don't see a world where even in that like very hard for me to understand scenario, it doesn't inadvertently train you to treat people as like a product. Because I feel like it trains you to one on-demand person, which oftentimes isn't a thing because you're dealing with other human beings who have their own feelings and their own shit going on. So I've also known a number of people in my life that's actually what they look for in a partner, a thing, an on-demand person, rather than actually having a relationship with another human being. So it's hard for me to see a world where those AI relationship things that's not detrimental. And as far as AI helping you with like a bio or with replies back to someone, while not ideal, I imagine that's kind of just a different version of the same thing that's been happening forever. Like, unless human beings have drastically changed, I feel like who you start dating on the first date and who they are 3 months in, not always the same person. A lot of people take a lot of time to like, pull the walls down, putting the best version of yourself out there, the one that, never farts. Like today's Philip DeFranco loves musicals, loves theater. But the way I actually got introduced to it is when I was a teenager. There was this theater girl that I really liked, and I just lied. I was like, yeah, I love musicals. Probably might be my favorite thing. And then I studied that shit like I was studying for the SAT. So even with that, I would say like the amount that you use the AI, that's probably gonna decide like how big of a red flag this is. Like, are you supplementing your entire personality before you meet this person? Because that just feels like you're setting yourself up for failure. And the grossness factor very quickly goes up. But hey, that is the story. That is some of my takeaway. And now I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this weird and messy situation?